Yeah, so for today's call, I think it can also be quite, how do you say, like interactive. So if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. We will try to also answering questions for today. Right, cool. That's a bit of introduction of today's call. So before we start, I'd like to know, like I mentioned, we have new people here. So feel free to drop in the chat box where are you joining us from, um, country maybe. So I'm Fatin. I'm from Malaysia. So it is 8:38 p.m. in Malaysia right now. Hi Manangu. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. And I think Manangu is also new in this community call. So welcome to our network. Hi Christine from Kenya. Right. So feel free to keep it coming in the chat box. I would love to hear where you're from, especially to the new people, and also the people who have been part of the network can also know the new people. Right. Cool. Please drop your name and maybe like your location as well. Right. I will move on while you keep adding your names and location in the chat box. Cool. Just a bit of house rules as usual before we start. Number one, please keep your microphone muted when you're not speaking. Number two, please feel free if you can turn on your camera just to say hi. It'd be great, to actually see your face. And then third, as usual, please get involved. We're gonna do a bit of us like Q&A as well. Hi Max. Um, you can feel free to ask questions, or you can also raise your hand if you want to ask while we're speaking, right? So yeah, thank you so much. Yes, Manango is dropping his LinkedIn account here, so feel free if people want to connect as well. Yes, hi David from Zurich. Cool. Before we start, as usual, quick vibe check. I just want to know because I know and understand that we're from different parts of the world, different time difference. So feel free. On a scale of Baby Yoda here, 1, 2, 3, 4 till 9. How are you feeling today? I'm feeling quite a 3 right now because I'm going to the field tomorrow. I'm going to Brazil, which is like very, very far from where I'm from. So, yes, Satyam is the one. Uh, right. Please drop the number in the chat box. Which one are you? Right. Give me 1 minute to admit more people in. Dennis is a 3. Hi, Dennis. Dennis is from Kenya as well. Right, cool. Keep it coming in the chat box. Right, I think we can start now. Like I mentioned, 3 people will be speaking today. So the first one would actually be Satyam, who is one of our engineers in GainForest, and also like one of the main people who are doing or developing Bumicerts platform for today. And I think we also have Donald here who's attending. Donald is also working specifically on the feature for the tree data upload. Right. Just also to mention before I pass this floor to Satyam, this is actually the first wave of Bumicerts launch. So this is like super, super special for us and also for all of you as well who's attending, because we are opening Bumicerts to our very first 15 beta testers. And for this first wave, we are trying to focus to onboard people who are actually doing work related to tree data, right? So I think you've already seen in the WhatsApp group, I've mentioned a few questions about tree, and I would like to also understand what's the like use cases when it comes to tree data collection when it comes to you in your country. So yeah, I'm so happy also to announce that everyone in this call will get the chance to actually become one of the 15 beta testers. So thank you so much for coming. Like I'm super, super, super excited for all of you to try. Right. With that, I would pass the floor to Satyam to start to like demo to you about login and also signing up. To you, Satyam.
Yep. Hello, everyone. I'm Satyam, as Fatin already introduced me. I'm from India, and I've been working as an engineer at GainForest. If you guys remember EcoCertain, it was an app that I developed, like not fully, but yeah, I played the key role in building that. And today I'm here to present you the beta version of Bumicerts. We changed its name. Basically, it's an improvement over EcoCertain. We have been working really, really hard. Me, Donald, Karma, and like other engineers at GainForest. So to start with, let's give you like a quick overview of what Bumicerts is. So Bumicert, uh, the term is made up of like two words, where Bumi means earth and cert means certificate. So basically, yeah, um, that's like clear in terms of like Bumi in Indonesian means earth. That means it's a certificate for all the work that you've been doing for the conservation of the earth. So yeah, earlier we used to call it EcoCert, but now we have moved to Bumicer. And okay, I guess we can get started with the demo. Those who do not know about the two sides of Bumicerts, the first one being the organization, or nature steward, and the other one is the basically the funder side, which is if you want to like fund some of these Bumicerts. Okay, so yeah, you can check out this page, beta the fund the GainForest app. Let's start the demo. And demos are like always dangerous because it's in the name beta. So I'm pretty scared. uh, let's see if I really hope it works out. Okay, I'll start with signing up. So to sign up or sign in, it's the same flow. You just enter the email. The handle is another option. If you know your handle, you can go ahead with that as well. But for now, I will enter my email first, admit, and it would send me a verification code at my email. So, yep, I just received it. You can see 6:15 p.m. and I have in India at 6 of 15 p.m. So I can copy the code and go back here, sign up. So we use you can see sign in with certified. That's because certified is something like where all your data is stored. It's managed by us as a team. It's a public service. um, yeah, we together like built this service, um, us and some developers at Hypersearch, if you know Hypersearch. Okay, so when you sign up for the like sign up is always for the first time, but when you like even log in for the first time on a device, you would generally like see these options, whether you want to use Boomi Search as a funder, or do you want to set up your account as a nature steward or on an organization. Okay, so I can get started with funder, and then I can also show you how to convert a normal user account into an organization account. So yeah, this is a normal user account. You can get started with by just like entering the name and a short guy. Okay, I can start by clicking continue. um, I mean that's all that I need, but I can also like add my avatar. um I would use this I would use this goat for my avatar, and I can also add a banner. Let's choose something. um let's use this image as my banner. Okay, yeah, that's it. I can click continue and it should create a user account, a normal user account for me. So for users or funders, they can view the Boomi search. I mean, you do not need to sign up to be able to see the Boomi search on the explore page. Here are all the Bumicerts that are live as of now. These were ported over from the previous app, EcoCertain. Okay, I'll go back to my profile. So yeah, yep. This is my profile. This is like totally empty because we do not have much things yet for a normal user. All the functionalities we've developed so far are for the organization side. So I would now convert this user account to an organization account. You do not need this step if you already choose the organization at the very first step at the time of sign up. But yeah, I'm just for the sake of it, I'll go with it. So yeah, this is the same form as previous, but it would have some extra fields. So I can start with, say, entering my website, https. Let's go with gainforest.earth, and I can use this prefill option, and it would like magically fetch data for you, like the Gainforest logo, Gainforest name, the bio for Gainforest. I can also modify it. It's also recommended that you modify it, you review it, and modify it according to your needs. Then we also have a code of conduct which Fatin drafted. So yeah, this is a code of conduct. Make sure you read it well and you align with it. Okay, this is the first step. I can click continue, and this is the second page where I can choose my country. You can see it's already like pre-filled in and it's correct. Gainforce is a Swiss-based non-profit organization. Everything is correct here. This part, or like all the three things, are optional. You can like if I do not have any data here, you can just skip this part and you can still continue. Okay, I'll click continue, and an organization for me is created. The logo is not appearing for some reason for now, but yeah, it's beta. I can refresh and it should appear. Yeah, that works. You can also like manage your data from here, like if you want to. There are multiple things that you can manage for now. It's already looking like more full than normal user account. You can create Bumicerts by clicking Bumicerts here, and you can also like manage trees, audio, and sites. You can also edit your data. Let's say, yeah, it's missing a cover image, so I'll for the final step, I'll like try to upload a cover image, maybe the same as previous one that I tried to. um let's do this. Apply. Okay, I can save it. Hopefully it should work. Yep, it worked. The logo disappeared for some reason, but yeah, it appears again. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I guess over to you, Fatin.
Right. Thank you so much, Satyam. I think that's quite straightforward on
Mhm.
how a new user would log in and also create an organization profile, basically. Oh, let me go back to my share screen. Let's see. Right. I hope you can see my screen now. Cool. So yes, Satyam have covered the first part, which is login and also signing up, and also how to create an organization profile. And the next part would be me talking about how to upload or manage your tree data. So, like I mentioned in the very beginning, for this particular call and this very first wave, we are doing only tree data. Let's see. Right. So just a little bit of mentioning, I mean, Satyam already mentioned at the very beginning about how the previous app was actually eco-certain. And now this is like Bumicerts. We have a complete like rebranding, and at the same time, added new. We've also added a some new features. And one of also the things that we have like upgraded when it comes to tree data specifically is actually we are now using the GBIF Global Biodiversity Information Facility standards. So whatever columns that you are using, I will show you later. In terms of tree data, we are using this global framework and also standards. So I think you can also read more about GBIF standards if this is the first time that you are, listening about GBIF. But essentially, it is a global standard that people use when it comes to trees, to make sure that there's some sort of like consistency, because I understand, like different people use different things. They want to answer specific scientific questions, for example, right? So yeah, you can also read more on GB standards later. Um, in terms of data as well, just also letting you know that of course you are the data owner of this tree data, but Gainforest in this case we are becoming a publisher, and we have registered under GBIF as a publisher. So whatever data that you are uploading, especially tree data, it will also appear on GBIF, like web. So it's also available there and it's public, right? And then, like I mentioned, we are Gainforest. We are registered node at the moment, under DPIC of Switzerland. Right. And at the very end, lastly, the most important thing that you have to understand when you are using our platform, and even like with GBIF, the whole idea is to make data public and transparent. So make sure to fully understand that, and understand that whatever that you upload later, they all will be publicly available on the Green Globe, which I will show you later, and also the GBIF platform. Right. So those are a little bit of like disclaimers before we move on to the next part. So this is the overall demo flow for me for the tree data. It's a bit long, but we will go through one by one after this. And there are like two main platforms that we are using. So it could be the first one would be Bumicerts, and the second is actually KoboToolbox, if you've heard of it. I think some of you have already used it. But essentially, KoboToolbox is not compulsory, I would say. I am just suggesting that some of you can use KoboToolbox if you haven't used any like tree data collection platform yet. This is something that you can try using. But if you already use something else, you can just align whatever column template that we have, and then you can clean your data based on whatever that you have collected. So all you need is basically a CSV to be able to upload your data to Bumicerts platform. But this whole complete comprehensive steps would be specifically for those who are new when it comes to digital tree data collection, right? So I think Satyam already mentioned these two steps, signing up and also create an organization profile. And then the next part, I would show you how to get it's actually Excel template, and also how to set up your form in your KoboToolbox, right? So let's go to KoboToolbox. Um, Right. So for those who are new to KoboToolbox, this is basically a platform that allows you to create forms. So it could be any kind of forms. For example, if you don't want to use it for tree data, you want to use it for something else. Like maybe you want to get like people's names in the village, like like how many people attended certain things. For example, it could be anything. It's literally just a form, but at the same time, it also works offline. So if you think like you are going to, areas with like bad internet connectivity, for example, you can use KoboToolbox as a form. Like you can create your own form, right? So that's the first idea when it comes to KoboToolbox. And at the same time, if you use that form and then you take some photos, it actually those photos will be saved under like your KoboToolbox. It will become like your own Google Drive in a way, right? So in this case, for example, if I want to do my data collection tomorrow, so I can click new. Wait, sorry. Before that, I have to go to Bumicerts, and I've already I'm already signed up here. I already logged in, sorry. And then let me go back. As you can see here on the left side, there are like multiple things that you can click. I would say this is also the page that Satyam showed. So you can click trees here, or you can also click trees here. So I'm just gonna try click trees, and you will go to this tree manager page, right? And for example, tomorrow I would like to go for a fieldwork to collect some tree data. So I can go here, and in this upload tree data platform, there is a drop down. So if you're super new, you can try to find the template here. But if you already used it multiple times, I'm pretty sure you have it saved in your laptop already, right? So for example, if this is your first time, you can click this template. So this will later help you to create like the columns in KoboToolbox, right? So what are the columns? So the columns are actually all of the things in this list. So like I mentioned, we are using GB standards. So we want to have all these things when people upload their data on in Bumicerts, right? So, for example, what's the scientific name of the tree? Maybe you recorded it in a specific date, for example, and what is the location of that particular tree? Because later we will visualize in a map, so you need to see where does each tree pinpoint, right? But there are also other additional things that are also in the GBIF standards. For example, if there is a vernacular name to that tree, and then there are also some other stuff that you can add, right? But these are like not compulsory. But of course, it is recommended to get as much as data as you can here. I guess it will just become more like your data will become more like reliable and trusted if you have more columns, right? But it's also like super recommended for people to complete these three columns, which is actually height of the trees, and also the DBH, the diameter at breast height, and also the diameter, right? And at the same time, it is also recommended for people to put on some, like upload or take some photos of the tree. Because when it comes to the digital tree data, people will feel like more convinced, with the work that you do, especially when there's a pinpoint and when you click on it, you can actually see the picture of the tree, right? So these are the list of columns that we have in Bumicerts, and they are all following the GBIF standards. Okay. I hope that is clear. So what I'm going to do next is actually we have that template already. So I'm going to click new, and I'm going to click upload an XLS form. So here I will find um, the Excel sheet that I got from Bumiset, which is basically the template, right? So here I can change the name. Oh, wait, sorry. Let me try that again. See, right. So for example, for this particular form, I am collecting this for community one, and then maybe I put the name of the location, and then the the date or the month, right? So example, and then I can also write some description. Here I can just put other, and then here I will put my country, Malaysia, right? So we can create a project, right? So before you actually use this form, you need to click this part, which is deploy. If you don't click deploy, basically your form will not be deployed and it cannot be accessed anywhere. Yeah, so there is a button here called redeploy. So for example, if you do some edits to your form, for example, I create edits here. So you can see all of these, right? So this is, I think, quite an interesting part whereby you can customize depending on your situation on the ground, depending on your scientific question as well. I know that some people, they want to answer some specific scientific question, like um, how many are there, like how many trees are there in one plot, for example, right? So I think it's fine if you want to add those questions here, feel free. So if you want to add more things, you can just click add and then click add question, and you can like add whatever you want. But make sure when you are sending it or uploading it on the Bumicerts, you kind of like you have to clean your data a little bit, right? So this is where you can customize a lot of stuff. And I think someone also previously mentioned, for example, it's hard for people on the ground to click or write down scientific name every time. So, you know, like you're already on the ground, maybe you planted a tree, so you have to write down. Some people don't want that. So what they want to do is they want to create like an options kind of thing. So the field officer on the ground, they can just select the tree. So for example, species one, species one, species two. Yeah, so in this case, I am changing. So it's no longer you have to write, because here it says ABC, that means I need to write. But now I already know what I'm planting. Maybe there are only 5 trees that I'm planting or 2 trees that I'm planting. So for this particular data collection, I already input all the tree names or tree species that I want to um, plant, for example, right? So it's easier. So this is what I said, that you can actually customize it as you want. But yeah, in this case, I will not do that. I'm just showing to you that this is possible. So you can still play around with it. It's not like super fixed. You can play around with basically the type of data here, right? Make sure you save it every time. So once you save it, you can go back, and every time you did an edit, you have to redeploy it. If not, whatever things that you have changed will not pop up in the form, right? So for example, here, I have already edited. So if you want to open and see your form, you can go here. Let's see. Yes. So this is what people will see, right? So for example, yeah, so these are all the things that they will see on their phones, right? So for today, because I actually do not have an Android phone, so it's a bit hard for me to show how it would look like on an Android phone. But basically, yeah, I have like 2 suggestions here. So when, of course, you will have an admin, a project admin, for example. So that project admin will help you create a form on Google KoboToolbox, right? And also, of course, you have field persons or data collectors. So these data collectors will use their phone on the ground. So when you when you brief your data collectors or field persons, uh, it is advisable that you get them to download these 2 apps. But for Kobo Collect is actually for Android phones. But for iPhones, you can actually use GIC Collect, right? So Satyam is showing on the phone, on his phone right now, Kobo Collect. So that's how it looks like on the Google Play, right? Yeah, that's the logo. So this is like the device setup, I would say, when it comes to Kobo Collect. So the project manager or the admin will set up the form, and they will edit it, and then they will deploy it, right? But at the same time, all these field persons also have the Kobo Collect on their phones, right? And they all have to have like a Kobo username. So they have to put their emails in and password and stuff like that, right? So let me go back to the form. Okay. So in order to get your data collectors or field persons to access this form, you have to go to this part called collect data, and then you go here into the drop down, and then you select Android application. So that's what Satyam already did just now, which is um, he went to Google Play and then he chose Kobo Collect, right? So and then for example, Satyam already have created his own Kobo username. So you just follow these instructions basically. You need to choose this kckobotoolbox.org, and then you have to download form. And then automatically you will see that whatever form that I have created, I can, give it to Satyam already. So Satyam can already access my form in his phone. So it's the same with other data collectors that you have. So maybe some people have, more than two or three people. Maybe they have five people for a specific plot, for example. So you can add those people to be able to access your particular form, right? There's also toggle here which these people can access your form without username or password. So I will leave it up to you because you know best, the people that you work with. But for me, usually I think it's safer to have like specific usernames. So you get everyone who are data collectors to have their own username and password. So it'll be easier to manage. So you know who your data collectors are. Right. Cool. I think that's the first part when it comes um to KoboToolbox. So you can still play around with it. You can collect data. For example, you want to share project with more people. So maybe I can add Satyam here. I can add Donald here. I can add David here. So they can also have access to this particular form. And you can also check how many forms that you have, and then if you edit it, make sure to redeploy it. And at the very end, once, for example, tomorrow we do today, for example, we did a data collection. We already done it, so we can go back to our laptop and open our KoboToolbox, and then if we click data, you will be able to see specific data that you all the people that have collected data, like all the data will come up here because we are all using the same form, right? So for example, if five people use the same form, we will all see it here, right? Let's see. So I'm just gonna click at the data that I have submitted so it's faster. So this is the data that I've tried before this call just now. I basically tried to fill out the forms, and I uploaded like two data points. Um, Once we are ready to get this data, we go to this column data, and then we click downloads. So here, to be able to visualize it and upload it on Bumicerts, you have to click CSV, right? So we will be able to read your data based on a CSV. So you just click export. For example, I've already exported just now my very simple two data points, and then I just click download, right? So that's the first thing, which is the CSV, for us to be able to fetch your data and then visualize it later, right? But at the same time, with our form just now, we also have some photos. So in order for us or Bumicerts platform be able to read your photos, we need your photos, right? So what you need to do is you go here, click media attachments, which is a zip file, and you can click new export. In my case, because this debate will take a few more minutes, so that's why it's already did it here. So I just click yes. So it's already in my laptop right now. So that's done. So we go back to the Bumicerts platform, and now we are ready to upload our data, right? So let's try this data that we have uploaded using Kobo, and then the zip file as well. Right. And then another thing that you can mention here is actually data set, right? So for example, I want to clump these two data in a new data set. Or if I already have an existing data set, I can also add those two. Maybe I can create a new data. So here you can name your data set. Maybe I will say community one, and then the name of the place, which is Situ, for example. And then I can add also a description. And then next part is you can actually select, this is optional, but it's good to have. So you can select how were these trees established. Did you plant them? Did you plant them, or did they grow naturally there, or was it like a regeneration trees? And also, if you're not sure, it's also fine. So you can just click not sure here. So for example, if I click planted trees, right. So here, Bumicerts is trying to read my CSV just now, and then it's also trying to map it to, all the columns that we have already mentioned at the very beginning, which are basically part of the GBIF standards, right? So you can check it out if its scientific name is mapped to your data, your CSV, which is scientific name, and it will give you some sort of like warning if it's not right, or maybe if you don't have that particular column, so it's not important for your scientific question, so you don't use it, it's also fine. But yeah, this is where you can check if your column is actually reading the right thing or not. And then after that, once we are confident, we click continue to um, preview. And here, this is like an error. So as you can see, I also want to show you if there's an error, you will be able to see here. So for example, you have like 53 data points, and then Bumicerts will tell you like, hey, actually 3 points are not right. There's something wrong with your data points. So you can either delete it here, or you can start all over again. You can clean your data again, but this is where you can actually see if there's something wrong with your data. So for example, I just want to upload my valid row, which is this particular one valid row. So let's see. So yeah, so the record is now saved. If I want to see it again, I can just go back to the tree manager, and I can see the data set that I have just uploaded. And like I mentioned, this is the green globe preview. So as you can see, it is pinpointing to that particular tree that I've planted, and also the location that I've chosen. Right. Yeah, for this data point, I actually didn't put any height or DVH, so that's why it's not there. But for example, if you come out with the same situation as me, you can still edit your data, right? So you can go down here and you can edit it. So you can fill this out. If there's any remarks as well, you can also add. If you want to add more regarding the habitat, information about the habitat, you can also do that. So for example, I realized, oh, I forgot my tree measurements. So I can still fill it out here. Maybe I just put some just random numbers. Right. So once that's done, I can just add measurement. If I refresh, I hope it works. Things can go wrong with demos, but I hope it works. Right, let's see if the numbers that I've put in will appear on the green globe. Okay. Yeah, so the numbers are in. Yeah, so that's essentially how it works. You can always edit each of your data points. If you want to add more pictures, for example, if you want to edit all these columns, you can also do so even after you have uploaded your data. Right. Let's see. What else can I show you for trees? Yeah, so if you go back to Tree Data Manager, you can see all your data sets, and you can also see the green globe preview that I showed to you just now. Okay, let's go back to our presentation here. So yes, like I mentioned, we've already covered Kobo Collect, and if you're using iPhone, it's going to be GIC Collect. And this is your device setup with your field persons or data collectors. And it's very important to have one person who is in charge for the KoboToolbox, so you can manage your forms. And at the same time, later you can get your CSV, your data, and all the pictures associated to those data. Right. So this is the flow basically. We've done this part. If you can and if you want, feel free to clean your CSV. Maybe you have additional data that you collected. You can remove those if you don't want to make those data public. And then you upload to Bumicerts like I showed to you, and also you'll be able to visualize your tree data on the Green Globe and the Bumicerts platform. Right, I hope that is clear. I think that's it for my part. We have another 12 minutes. I will pass it to Sakwa. Sakwa, I hope you're here. Yes, I can see you. So Sakwa will share a little bit more on, I think, like some very, very practical tips because Sakwa does a lot of does a lot of work when it comes to tree data. So Sakwa, maybe you can give the audience like some tips on the ground, like the very practical tips. Yeah, to you, Sakwa.
Yeah, thank you so much, Fatin, and hi everyone. I'm going to be presenting about field good practices. I know some of you are already doing this work, so some things might look very simple, but I know probably we can learn new things. And if there is any other good practice that I haven't mentioned, since we come from different contexts, also feel free to share with us. So, are you all able to see my screen?
Now, yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so it is very important to prepare before going to the field. And usually it's very advisable to review the mapping area and do a reconnaissance if possible. For example, if it's an area, however much it's your country or community, maybe to get in touch with the local leadership. If it's a forest, you look at safe routes, where to map, and all that. Very important. Then, of course, when it comes to devices, like if you're going to use your phone, it's important to fully charge it before the field work, and if possible, to carry a power bank, and also ensuring that you've installed the form before you depart for the field, as well as testing it to see if it is working well. Of course, there are things like carrying some water, because usually we are in rural communities. Sometimes you go remote. You don't want to first leave your work and go back looking for water. You need the notebook, a pen, or protective clothing, especially if you're going into tropical forests. And then for phone and battery management, like I said, we really work in remote areas and sometimes power is an issue. I mentioned a power bank earlier, but with ODK, you can also put your phone in flight mode. You don't need your cellular network because it depends on satellites. So, hi Fatin.
Yeah, Sakwa, I just want to mention a little bit just in case if people don't know what ODK is. But basically, it's literally the same thing as Kobo, but it's a different app. But I
Yeah.
think maybe Sakwa is more like used ODK before or more comfortable with ODK. That's also fine. Like I mentioned, there are multiple options. So just letting people who are new to know that you can use Kobo and ODK. Depends. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you, Fatin, for that clarification.
Oops, you're muted, Sakwa.
Yeah, so putting your phone to flight mode really helps so that you don't get too stressed with the battery and charging, and reducing brightness, Sometimes closing unnecessary apps that are running in the background, keeping GPS enabled only when needed, and then also protecting your phone from rain and excessive heat. Is my slide moving?
It's not moving.
Oops.
Yes, now yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so for us who are planning to plant trees, it is very important to know the scientific names of the trees that you're planting, or the indigenous trees, so that you don't get stressed and start looking for names. You can carry a guide for trees from your community. These guides are always available so that you get to know all these trees. And it's also important to focus mainly on indigenous trees because many buyers prefer them compared to commercial exotics. So if you're planting, I think it's good practice to focus on indigenous trees because they're good for biodiversity. And then also understanding the ecological importance of the tree species. I think somewhere when Fatin was presenting, there was a section where you can add extra information. So this can be helpful. And also try avoid confusing exotic commercial trees with indigenous species. I already talked about a field guide or species identification sheet. Then seedling quality assessment. You need to get healthy seedlings with strong survival potential. And this is not just about survival, but even the quality of trees. If the seedling doesn't look good, even if you have a very good camera, you'll not have a good photo. So it's important that you choose seedlings that are healthy, that have leaves and look good. Then avoid recording dead, deceased, or severely damaged seedlings. And check for healthy green leaves and strong stems for the trees because we don't want to waste dollars with high mortality rates. And also ensure that roots are not exposed and the trees are planted well. Then it's also very important to take clear photos showing the condition of the seedling. And then when it comes to estimating or determining tree height and DBH, it is very important to learn beforehand how to measure the height of trees in meters, feet, or inches, depending on what you're recording. For example, if it's a forest and you're measuring mature trees, you'll probably look at meters. And if you're maybe following up with trees that you planted 2 years ago, maybe feet, and for small seedlings that are just being planted, you're probably looking at inches. So sometimes you'll find forms whereby it's only an option of meters. So you need to know how to convert those. Maybe if it's 2 inches, how many meters are those? Maybe 0 point something. Yeah, and then measuring the density at breast height for mature trees at 1.3 meters above the ground. For seedlings, we usually measure root collar diameter, that is at the start of the seedling. Then, of course, things to carry, a measuring tape or diameter tape for estimating this DBH. It's important to avoid guessing measurements. I know at some point you can't always be measuring. At some point, you reach a time when you can just look at a tree and you know this is like the centimeters. But before you get that experience, it's important to measure maybe a few trees, and after that you'll be good. Then record the measurements accurately in ODK stroke Kobo. taking good tree photos. I think I already touched it, but also these are important, like the angles that show the whole seedling or tree, and then avoiding taking photos directly against the sun. Sometimes, especially if they are very small leaves and you take photos against the sun, then don't really see the tree. So what we do sometimes is we stand on the side where the sun is coming from so that you create a shade, and then you're able to get a very good picture. So in Kobo or ODK, there's an option. If you've taken a photo and it's not too good, you can retake it. And then for GPS location accuracy, it is important to wait for the GPS accuracy to stabilize before recording. In most cases, when it goes to 5 meters and below, it records automatically. So it's important to stand still while capturing the coordinates, exactly where the tree is, and then avoid mapping under heavy canopy, especially if they are small trees, because it becomes quite difficult. Then double checking the points, that the points match the correct tree. Of course, this one is difficult when you're in the field, but for example, if you're doing some samples, you can do a few, go back home on your laptop and check if the trees are being captured in different locations and not in one. Then record coordinates only when accuracy is acceptable. This is automatic. As soon as it reaches 5 meters and below, it captures automatically. So another thing to know is that sometimes cloud cover can affect the speed of capturing GPS. So if you have a lot of clouds, it's normal. You shouldn't kill yourself over that. And then data quality and integrity, avoid entering false information. It's very important to enter the accurate information. Then review every form before submission. Ensure species names are spelled correctly. Otherwise, we might get new species that are non-existent. Then capture complete and accurate records, because good data builds trust with buyers and restoration partners. So I already spoke about why indigenous trees matter, so I will not repeat that. And then a final reminder is that good field practices improve data quality, efficiency, increase buyer confidence. Now that we are talking about Bumicerts, a strength and restoration impact. So thank you so much. And if there is any questions, any additions, happy to hear from you.
Right. Thank you so much, Sakwa. I'm learning a lot as well because I don't go to the field so much like you. I think you go more frequent. So thank you so much for those practical tips. I really like that you mentioned about good data and how it tells better story, and it creates more confidence and build more trust. So thank you so much for that. Right. Maybe we open like very brief any questions. Yes, Julius. If you also want to add any of your good practices, Julius, feel free.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Fatin, for the opportunity. I'm sorry I joined late, and I see there are some interesting about data and data in conservation, and that's where I also focus on. My question is, I've seen some of the metrics which are collected mostly on growth parameters within the forest, and I also collect similar data. I have but the data extracts I have is from drone data. From the orthomosaic photos, we can be able to obtain a very large planted size individual trees, and then we extract the heights and the dBH and the canopy diameters also from in an CSV form. I don't know, is it possible that we can also upload a similar data of that, just some few cleaning, like because it has coordinates, only the optional species I can just add, and also it has the canopy diameter, and also it also has the height. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Julius. I think there's a super interesting use case which Julius' organization is doing. Yes, definitely. Like I mentioned at the very beginning, you were not here, Julius, but I did mention on how Kobo is just like one of the ways, and I just want to introduce the simplest way for those who are new. But if you are doing or already using something else, you've already collected data, but the whole idea in a sense is actually just to make sure that your data is cleaned based on the columns that we have mentioned just now. So we have like a template, so you can refer to that template and then you can see like, oh, if there's any existing data that you already have actually aligned with the template, you can already upload it there. So it's not like super strict. Again, this is Bumicerts is just a tool for you to be able to visualize your data and also proof or make it like digital, right? So yeah, thank you so much for that question, Julius. Of course, as long as it follows the template, it should be fine.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just needed to show you like the kind of data we have.
Mhm.
Like this is some of the sites we document. Like when we do restoration activity, we document them on. We do a mapping of a very large area using drones. Then we can be able, like if I'm in this site, I can be able to get an Excel sheet of the data. I can be able to inspect and get the height, the dBH, and also the area or so far covered and the locations. So I was wondering if I can download all the trees because it captures the total number of trees which are planted within the site. Like you can be able, if I zoom in, and be able to see how many trees so far we have planted, and they are detected from the drone. Then we can upload also in the Bumicerts.
Yes, that's super. Thank you so much for sharing, Julius. Of course, this is very much doable. Right. Cool. Thank you so much. This is great. Does anyone has any other question before we close the call? We've exceeded 5 minutes. Anyone? Right. Okay. Cool. If there is nothing else, just like to say thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your interest and also your effort on the ground. So, like I mentioned, everyone here is open to be the beta testers. What I'm gonna do after this would be I will upload this video in our Notion page, and it will be public so everyone can watch it again. If you don't remember the steps, you can also look at the video again. And at the same time, I will also give you the link to actually try. So I can give you the link to KoboToolbox, and I can also give you the link to Bumicerts for all of you to try. But I think give me a bit more time, maybe like around 1 day, so I could arrive in Brazil and I'll be able to do that because I'm already leaving after this. Right. Cool. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope to see you in the next community call. If you have any question, feel free to ask in the big group chat, for example. And I think there are also new people here that I can also add into the WhatsApp group. Right. Cool. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.